Welcome back to the Science and Tech Podcast. I'm Joseph.
And I'm Mary. And Joseph, oh my goodness, do we have something juicy for everyone today? We're talking about the iPhone 17 Pro.
That's right. The one, the only, the surprisingly innovative iPhone 17 Pro. I mean, we've got some leaks, some rumors, and honestly, a few things nobody saw coming.
Exactly. So buckle up, tech enthusiasts, because we're about to dive deep into what Apple's got cooking for 2025. It's going to be a fun, informative, and maybe a little bit crazy discussion, don't you think?
Absolutely. Let's get into it.
So, Joseph, let's kick things off with the look, right? Because, wow, we're talking about a new look that's literally edge to edge.
I know. The leaks, they're showing this insane 1.2 millimeter bezel. I mean, that's narrower than any current smartphone. It's like, did they just melt the screen onto the edges? How do they even do that?
Well, apparently it's this thing called Apple's border reduction structure, or BRS process. Sounds super fancy, doesn't it? Like, they're not just shrinking it, they're reducing its border. Very dramatic.
Border reduction structure. I mean, it sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie. But you know what's really interesting? They're swapping out last year's titanium frame for a new aluminum glass hybrid.
Yeah, and I have thoughts on that. So they're shaving off what? 0.4 millimeters of overall thickness? That's tiny, but it keeps the IP68 rating, which is good. But the aluminum glass hybrid, my immediate thought is like, my phone is going to slide off everything.
Exactly. The pros say it's feather slim, aesthetic, lighter weight, and it's got these bold new colors. But the cons, well, the aluminum frame means slightly less scratch resistance versus the grade 5 titanium. So, for all you folks who are constantly dropping your phone, or like me, you put it in a pocket with your keys, maybe think about a case this time.
Oh, definitely. And it says it's slippery without a case. So Apple's just straight up telling you, go buy our cases, please. But I gotta say, those new colors, Joseph, copper orange and sky blue, alongside the classic black and silver, of course, but copper orange, that sounds absolutely stunning.
I'm a big fan of the sky blue myself. I think that's going to look really slick. But yeah, it's this classic Apple move, right? They give you something beautiful, but then there's always that little caveat, like, oh, it's gorgeous, but good luck keeping it pristine.
It's like, here's your beautiful, fragile baby, enjoy. But honestly, the thinner bezels, the lighter feel, it's a trade-off I think a lot of people will be willing to make, especially for those new colors. I'm just picturing that copper orange.
All right, moving on from the aesthetic, Mary, let's talk about what we're actually going to be staring at all day, the screen. Still 120 hertz, which is great, but now it's even brighter. We're talking about a 6.3-inch LTPO ProMotion panel with a 3,000 nit peak.
3,000 nits? Joseph, that's like blindingly bright. What am I even going to use that for? Looking at my phone on the surface of the sun?
I mean, imagine trying to watch a movie on your phone outside on a sunny day. This thing is going to cut through any glare. It's also got a 2720 by 1350 resolution, which is pretty crisp, I guess. And the dynamic island is still there for better or worse, depending on who you ask.
Oh, I'm actually a fan of the dynamic island, but what's really cool is that it now surfaces live AI widgets like flight doors, sports scores, Siri-generated summaries, all thanks to Apple Intelligence. That sounds like a fancy name for Siri finally got a brain upgrade.
Apple Intelligence, that's what they're calling their new, on-device large language model stuff. It's pretty wild. And yeah, it says Samsung might win on raw pixel count, but Apple is still the industry reference for color accuracy. So, if you like your colors just right, Apple's still your go-to.
Yeah, Samsung's out there with a zillion pixels, and Apple is like, but are they the right colors, darling? It's a very Apple flex. But okay, speaking of brains, let's get to the real powerhouse here, the A19 Pro chip.
Oh, the A19 Pro. This is where the magic happens, right? An N3E 3-nanometer system on a chip with 6 CPU cores, a 6-cluster ray tracing GPU, and a 32 TOPS neural engine. That's a lot of tech jargon, but what it boils down to is it's an absolute beast.
It sounds like it's ready to launch a rocket to Mars. And the benchmarks leaked via Geekbench, like 3,100 single-core and 8,300 multi-core, it's just widening Apple's lead in single-thread speed. So basically, it's going to be snappy, Joseph. Really, really snappy.
Super snappy. And get this, Mary. The RAM finally moves to 12 gigabytes LPDDR6. Do you know how long people have been complaining about Apple's RAM situation?
Oh, forever. It was always, why does my iPhone have less RAM than, like, my toaster oven? And now they're finally catching up. It says it's resolving last year's multitasking hiccups. So no more apps closing in the background when you switch between, like, Instagram and your banking app.
Exactly. This is huge for power users for sure. And storage tiers still mirror 256 to 1 terabyte, but they're sticking to ultra-fast NVMe. So everything's going to load super quick.
So the upshot here is more headroom for on-device AI and ProRes video, which is great for creators. But, you know, my Android friends are still going to be like, yeah, but we have 16 gigabytes plus RAM. So Apple's still not quite winning the brute multitasking wars, are they?
No, not on paper, but, Apple's always been about optimization. It's like we don't need all of the RAM, we just need our RAM to work perfectly. And for most people, 12 gigabytes is going to be more than enough. It's definitely a welcome upgrade, though. No more feeling like you're behind on the RAM front.
Right? It's like Apple finally looked at Android and went, okay, fine, we'll give you a bit more. But in their own Apple way. It's not about the quantity, it's the quality of the gigabytes.
Okay, Mary, so we've talked about how it looks, how bright it is, and how fast it runs. But let's be real. What do most people use their phones for? Taking pictures. And the iPhone 17 Pro's camera system? Well, it's getting some serious upgrade.
Oh, thank goodness. I mean, my Instagram needs me, Joseph. What are we looking at here? Is it, like, finally going to make me look like a supermodel with just one tap?
Well, it's a good step in that direction. The main camera is still 48 megapixels, but with a larger sensor and a f1.6 aperture. So better low light, better depth, all the good stuff. But the telephoto, this is interesting. It's an upgraded 48 megapixel tetraprism 5x lens. And they're flexing on Samsung here, saying it's higher resolution than Samsung's 50 megapixel mid-zoom.
Ooh, a direct jab. I love it. So basically, I can zoom in on like a squirrel across the park and still tell what kind of nut it's holding. This is excellent news for my wildlife photography hobby that I don't have.
Precisely. The ultra-wide is still 12 megapixels, but with better edge sharpness, which, is always welcome. But the real headliner for selfie enthusiasts like yourself, Mary, is the front camera.
Don't you dare say it. You don't dare say it.
It's a 24 megapixel true depth camera for sharper selfies and 4K 60 Dolby Vision FaceTime. So, when you're video calling me, I'll see every pore.
Oh, great. Just what I wanted. Super high-res pores. But okay, that's actually a pretty significant jump for a front camera. Finally, a selfie that doesn't look like it was taken on a potato.
And the software side of things is pretty wild, too. It brings AI-assisted subject masking, smart delete, background cleanup, so if you have like a photo bomber, poof, they're gone. And an astro capture mode for star trails.
Smart delete? Are you telling me I can finally get rid of that random person in the background of my perfect vacation photo without having to open like Photoshop on my computer? This is revolutionary. My life has changed.
It's a game changer for sure, and video remains Apple's fortress. We're talking 8K at 30 frames per second ProRes and 4K at 60 frames per second cinematic mode with live background defocus. So for all those mobile filmmakers out there, this thing is a beast.
Yeah, that ProRes 8K, I mean, who even has a screen that can handle that? But it's cool, like you've got the power if you need it. Though, Samsung still has that 10x optical zoom and 200 megapixel detail on some of their phones, so Apple isn't quite winning the pixel wars on all fronts.
Yeah, not on all fronts, but Apple's always been about our color science is better, our ProRes is better, our front camera is better. It's that subtle Apple flex.
We make the pixels sing, Joseph.
Exactly. Now, speaking of singing, let's talk about getting connected. They're reportedly dual sourcing a Wi-Fi 7 and Bluetooth combo chip, so no more Broadcom next year for that.
Wi-Fi 7. Okay, so that means like my downloads are going to be like lightning fast, right? I'm talking, 5.8 gigabits per second under ideal conditions? That's insane.
Potentially, and lower latency for Apple Vision Pro streams, which, is a big deal if you're rocking one of those headsets. You want that seamless, no-lag experience.
Right, because nobody wants to be like lag vision. But Apple's own 5G modem, C1, isn't hitting the Pro line until 2026. So the 17 Pro is still riding on a Qualcomm X75. Bit of a bummer there if you were hoping for Apple's in-house modem magic.
Yeah, a little bit, but honestly, the Qualcomm X75 is still a fantastic modem. It's not like it's a slouch, but it does show that Apple is still relying on third parties for some core components, even as they push more in-house. But the Wi-Fi 7 is a definite win for speed and future-proofing.
So we've talked about speed, we've talked about cameras, we've talked about connectivity, but Joseph, what's the one thing that still makes me want to pull my hair out on a daily basis with my current phone? Battery life.
The eternal struggle, Mary, the Achilles heel of every smartphone. But good news, the iPhone 17 Pro is actually getting some decent bumps here. Rumors peg the capacity at around 4850 milliamp hours.
Okay, 4850 milliamp hours. That sounds, respectable, but how does that translate to like real world usage? Am I going to make it through a full day of doom scrolling TikTok and watching cat videos?
Well, hopefully. The saying continuous video loops run about an hour longer than the 16 Pro, and idle drain improves, which is huge thanks to this always-on LTPO floor of 1 hertz. So when your phone is just sitting there, it's barely sipping power.
Okay, that's pretty good. But what about charging? Because, sometimes you just need that quick top-up before you run out the door.
Right, so MagSafe 2 climbs to 30 watts, which is a nice little bump. But the wired charging, it's going up to 45 watts.
45 watts. Okay, that's progress for Apple. But I feel like Android phones have been doing like 65 watts, 100 watts for like ages now.
You are absolutely correct, Mary. They are still behind Android's 65 watt averages. So yeah, if you're looking for that super rapid charge, like I need 80% in 10 minutes, Apple's still not quite there. But they do have vapor chamber cooling, which means it can sustain peak power without throttling, so it won't just slow down halfway through.
Okay, so it's not the fastest from 0 to 100, but it's like a consistent, steady fast. I'll take it, as long as it doesn't melt in my hand.
Exactly. It's the slow and steady wins the race approach to charging, I guess. But you know what's really exciting and kind of the silent star of this whole thing is Apple Intelligence.
Oh, tell me more about this Apple Intelligence. Sounds very sci-fi. Is it gonna read my mind and order me pizza?
Not quite pizza yet, but it's getting there. Every major UI component now ties to Apple's on-device large language model. So think about it. Mail triage summaries. Your inbox, which is probably a disaster, can now be summarized for you.
Oh my gosh, you're telling me I won't have to read those endless email chains from work anymore? It'll just tell me Mary, you have a meeting at 3 p.m., bring snacks. This is a game changer for my sanity, Joseph.
Right? And this is my personal favorite, Genmoji 2 for bespoke emoji, so you can generate your own custom emojis.
Wait. I can make a little emoji of my dog wearing a tiny hat and then text it to you. This is everything I never knew I needed. This is peak technology, Joseph.
Absolutely. And then you've got Gen photo filters for stylized portraits and Siri 2.0. This is big, with offline context windows and spotlight style actions. So Siri is going to be smarter, more context aware, and even work offline for some stuff.
Okay, so Siri's finally going to stop asking me to clarify things 3 times. And the offline part is huge because, sometimes you're in the middle of nowhere and you still want Siri to do something.
Precisely. And Apple's really hammering home the privacy aspect here. Their pitch is that no Siri transcripts or photo data leaves the A19 Pro unless you explicitly opt into iCloud post-processing. So it's all happening on the device, which is a big deal for privacy advocates.
Okay, that is actually really reassuring because, when you're talking about AI and all these smart features, you immediately start thinking, where's my data going? So good job, Apple, on the privacy front. It's not just like smart, it's smart and secure, hopefully.
Exactly. It's that Apple-centric, deeply integrated AI that's supposed to feel more personal and, safer. It's not just about raw power, but how that power is used on your device.
Okay, so it's that Apple-centric, deeply integrated AI that's supposed to feel more personal and, safer. It's not just about raw power, but how that power is used on your device. But what about the whole Apple ecosystem thing, Joseph? Like, how does the 17 Pro play with all my other Apple gadgets? Because that's a big sell for a lot of people, right?
Oh, absolutely, Mary. The ecosystem play is huge for Apple, and the 17 Pro just locks you in even tighter. For starters, the MagSafe Battery Pack 2 is coming, and it charges at 15 watts in both directions, so you can top up your AirPods or even your Apple Watch with it. That's pretty neat.
Wait, so it's not just for the phone. You can charge your other devices with it? That's actually quite convenient. I always forget to charge my watch.
Exactly. And this next one, if you're a Vision Pro owner, is pretty wild. Vision Pro Handoff. It uses Wi-Fi 7 for low latency mirroring. So you literally point your phone at the headset to beam a windowed iPhone UI into your Vision Pro.
Okay, now that sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie. So I could just have my phone screen floating in front of me while I'm wearing the Vision Pro? My mind is boggling, Joseph.
Right? And then we're finally getting second-gen AirTags with UWB2 for ultra precision. We're talking centimeter-scale AR arrows to find your keys. No more, is it under the couch? Is it in the fridge?
Oh, thank goodness. My keys are perpetually lost in the abyss of my house. So better AirTags, cool MagSafe, and actual sci-fi stuff with the Vision Pro. This is starting to sound pretty compelling, but we got to talk about the elephant in the room. Is this really game-changing, or is it just, Apple being Apple? What are the big wins and the big drawbacks?
Well, looking at the summary, the big wins are definitely that slimmest bezel in the industry. I mean, it's virtually edge to edge. The A19 Pro is still the best single-core performance chip out there. The camera upgrades are solid, especially that 48-megapixel telephoto and that new 24-megapixel selfie camera with ProRes video. And the deep OS integration with Apple Intelligence and the privacy focus, that's a huge win.
Okay, those are good wins, but there's always a catch, right? What are we giving up?
The caveats. The aluminum frame is easier to scratch than titanium, so careful with your keys. Less RAM than top Androids, which, if you're a hardcore multitasker, that might still sting a bit. No 10x optical zoom like some Samsung phones. And the charging, while better, is still half of what some Android flagships offer. Plus, limited third-party AI plugins at launch. So it's Apple's walled garden, but a smart walled garden.
It sounds like it's not about making a huge, flashy leap everywhere, but more about refining what they have and making it all work seamlessly together, especially with the AI. So is this phone for everyone, or is it specifically for the Apple loyalists, the creators, the folks already deep in that ecosystem?
I think you nailed it, Mary. The iPhone 17 Pro, it's less about those flamboyant hardware leaps and more about pairing a refined exterior with Apple-centric silicone and deeply integrated AI. For creators, mobile filmmakers, and anyone locked into Apple services, it checks nearly every box, especially that new 24-megapixel front camera and ProRes 8K. Power users who crave stylus input or 10x zoom or those megawatt charging speeds might still glance at Samsung.
So it's about ecosystem loyalty and polished convenience rather than just pure specs.
Precisely. It's poised to push Apple's premium share higher, proving that smaller bezels and smarter software still move units even at titanium-level pricing.
Well, Joseph, that was a truly insightful and, dare I say, enlightening deep dive into the iPhone 17 Pro. My wallet is both terrified and excited.
Mine too, Mary. Mine too. It's a lot to unpack, but fascinating nonetheless.
Absolutely. And that's all the time we have for today's episode of Science and Tech Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Yes, a huge thank you to all our listeners. We love to hear your thoughts on the iPhone 17 Pro. Are you excited? Skeptical? Let us know what you think on our social channels.
Definitely. And join us next time when we'll be diving into, well, you'll just have to wait and see. It's going to be, pretty wild.
It always is. So for Mary and myself, Joseph, thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time on Science and Tech Podcast.
Bye for now.